Hello, 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 everyone. I've just realized as I've pressed to go live that I really need to sneeze, and that did not look appropriate. But I was just like, oh, my nose. Oh. My time off was enjoyable, thank you very much. Yeah. I've had a nice day back of just like, getting back into the swing of things, doing some fun recording with Carl, and now we get to do Mass Effecting, of course. Hello, 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 Ross. Joining as well. Yeah, just like straight back in and getting Mass Effect Mondays on the go. And Ross just getting those little cades back up. Thank you for the sub, Ross. Of course, I'm a bit out of things, but let's celebrate when I figure out how to put the sausages back on screen. How's the final shape? Oh shit. Okay, yeah. It's a good thing I tried that then, because I haven't linked. Yeah, final shape. Very good. Few days of server problems. Rather frustrating launch experience. Other than that, the actual game, the actual content, really fucking good. The campaign's really great. One of the better campaigns they've ever done. I think maybe going through solo legendary, I preferred. Maybe doing like the Witch Queen experience, but that was a few years back, so maybe I'm just misremembering a little bit. I haven't seen any of the raid, but I've heard good feedback about the raid. So I'm excited to see it myself, but generally speaking, me and my friends, we try to do like a bit of a blind run and see how we do before we then go and look up guides and stuff. We generally just like want to try and experience some stuff ourselves without just like YouTubing what the thing is. But from the sounds of how difficult it might be and how complex it might be, we might need those guides sooner rather than later. But I'll put it this way of like, as a player who's been playing since, I mean, I made an account and bought Destiny just before Taken King came out, but I was playing Destiny on my friend's PS4 from day one on their account and doing like the story and PvP and stuff like that with them, and literally joined in at the end of year one when I saw how like good the Taken King was prepping up to be, and got caught up a few weeks beforehand. But like, as a day one / year one, depending on how you want to clarify that player, like, I am genuinely satisfied with how they managed to wrap up 10 years worth of like story and encounters and stuff. Oh, Jack. Well, shit. I hope you're okay after a bike crash. Glad to see you in chat. Thank you for joining in. But yeah, I hope everything is okay and good. But yeah, like, they did do a good job of like actually paying off Destiny's story so far. And some bits were a bit weird, but like not necessarily bad weird, just like, hey, you took characters in ways that maybe I didn't want them to go, but I felt very invested and I felt the emotional connection to that story, and I genuinely like do think they did a really good job. That's good to hear, Jack. I'm glad to hear that like things are, good considering. Yeah, it's good to hear. I do need to call Carl, actually. I've just realised I started talking about Destiny. Carl, little Carl. TV's online. Gave him the head. There we go, Carl. Like, yes. Carl, I say, like, you told me like 5 minutes ago, nearly 10 minutes ago. What's going on? I got caught up in Destiny talking. Sorry, Carl.
Yellow?
Oh, he's in. He's in. But yes.
I am indeed.
Did have a good old nice week off, thank you, yes. Yeah, no worries, Jack. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for popping in.
Don't mind the noise in the background, I'm just like washing up a plate.
That's all good. But yeah, like, I had a nice week off. Lot of Destiny time when Destiny was working.
Just when I hear I had a week off, I know what that means. That means Lucas played a lot of Destiny.
I did. It was very enjoyable. And yeah, I think they've done a really good job of like actually dropping a really good expansion for how important this expansion was meant to be. Like, I do think they've done.
Is this like the last one then?
It's not the
It's like
last
the end of
one, but it is wrapping up like a 10
Destiny
years worth
story.
of story saga. Like, they are now trying to pivot the story away from what it's been for the last like 10 years of like the light versus the darkness.
That way we don't have to like onboard people with 10 years of story next game.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart.
Okay, they have said today that there's going to be year 11 of Destiny 2 or of Destiny, I suppose. So like, it's like, oh, I think it was like codename Frontiers or something, and it's like, does that mean Destiny 3?
What's the question then? Like, quick review, no spoilers. Do you think they've stuck the landing? Because this is like, unique in gaming of a story of 10 years in one game. We've had like games that have gone on for multiple years, but.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. As a person that's in my shoes, who's played all of Destiny 1, all of Destiny 2, played the content that has been removed from Destiny 2 over the years. So, like, for me, as someone who went through every year and actually experienced everything, yes. As somebody who would maybe jump in fresh now, half that content's fucking gone.
Yeah, because that's the weird thing. Like, I think first-person shooters, this is like an entirely unique experience. Like maybe the closest you might get is like, does Warzone have a story? Maybe that, because that's been going on for like 5-6 years now.
Don't know. Fortnite does, I guess, kind of.
Kind of, but then you have like MMOs, and that's about it, really. So it is a unique achievement for a single-player game to have like an ongoing story. It's like similar to like a comic book or a TV show or something, where it just kept going.
And they're continuing the story now, even like after this big expansion. Like, it's really impressive, and I think like the fact that Jenna and I were sitting there after the like final mission dropped, and like we actually were sitting there like crying emotional at the ending in a good way. Like, I think that's pretty fucking impressive.
So I've got a question, because this is like one of those things that I always think about when it comes to these ongoing projects. At what point would you sit down and feel, okay, I'm done, this is good? Not in the way of like, it's shit, I'm walking away because it's wank, but what would get you to be like, this was enough?
Well, I thought it might be this. But then, like, they've dropped a really good expansion with, like, a cool new, like, subclass where it's combining abilities from all the different subclasses together. And it's creating, like, loads of new, like, build crafting abilities and stuff like that. And they've dropped, like, a cool new campaign and, like, loads of extra content on the side and stuff. And I'm like, right now, I'm just in the mode of, like, let's keep fucking going.
You just back in, you don't know. It's like me with Monster Hunter. I think someone was in our Discord asking about it. And it's like, I was actually playing it on the train when that question was asked. And I went, you know what? I'd gotten enough from Monster Hunter and just turned it off. I've got enough. There's enough content. I've had enough Monster Hunter. It's not like, it's bad. It's just I've got my fill. It's like doing an all-you-can-eat buffet, and it gets to a point where it's like, I'm full. I've had enough.
And I think that's me with Destiny a lot of the time. Like, I consider myself as a Destiny player, like, somebody that plays it in a healthy way, where when I feel like I'm getting a bit tired of it, I go play other games. Whereas some people who, like, just live in Destiny don't do that.
Yeah, we get, like, the turbo sweats, don't you, where it's like, they're the ones, like, day one have already completed the raid and playing. It's not easy, it's too hard.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I definitely don't fall under the category of burning myself out on Destiny, and I think that's probably why every expansion that I enjoy, I'm still just like, No, I'm ready for more.
That's a good thing for you. It's not often you get people who have that experience. It's very difficult to find people who can have moderate or approach something with moderation, especially considering the gameplay loop is designed to keep you in for as long as possible.
Exactly, yeah. And like, I still go through every seasonal story and hit like season rank 100 on every season pass, but like that's not that much time commitment for every 3 months worth of content. It's like maybe 10 to 20 hours depending on how smart you are about getting XP and stuff.
Relative to what other people do.
Hope this doesn't start another war.
Like, you can, at the end of the season, if you just wait for all of the stories to drop and stuff, like, you can generally speaking just like sit down in a week or so and just bang it out pretty quickly.
Just weird to me. I bet there are people out there, because there's like people like this like every game, who don't play the game, they just watch the story on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
That's weird, right?
Mm.
And I say that knowing that people are watching us play Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. And I believe Erdnot Reeve is maybe the one who replaced Rex.
Oh yeah. And
this is just meant to be Rex if he's alive.
Which is a shame, but I guess, it's very Krogan that, well, Rex died, like, who the fuck's Rex? That he died, like, okay, so why should we give a shit?
Mm-hmm.
Why would the Krogans care?
Also, yeah, prismatic stuff is really fucking cool in it. I didn't answer that earlier, but yes, the new shit that I'm doing, at least on Hunter, and the stuff that I've already found for like Jenna's build, the crafting and stuff. Like, I'm the one who normally like gets into the deep, so I just go like, hey, I've thought of a new build for you. And yeah, it's been really fun so far. It's been really cool of like, hey, do you know you like really like this like punching aspect of the arc build, but it's got its weaknesses? Like, well, here in the prismatic build, because you've got like this stylish executioner thing where you can go and viz and like make it better, and there's different things that you can weave in, and there's different ways you can utilize different exotics with it now, and it's like, oh, it's like scratching that itch.
I like the idea that like you're like, oh, Jenna, I've got a surprise for you when you come home. She comes home, it's a new Destiny build. It's like, yeah. That's the relationship goal right there.
It is. Just like, you know what I've thought of? How about I get you like 3 different little buddies to help shoot everything at the same time, and just like, it's like that's the idea behind like the warlock thing, is like the warlock can basically summon like little like things like arc souls and like stasis turrets to just help you out as you're going along and shooting for you and stuff.
Oh, options, yeah.
And it's like, oh, how about you just summon like multiple different things all at the same time and get your little crew going?
Well, speaking of summoning random things and getting your crew, on season 4 of Attack on Titan.
Oh, you're on season 4?
The rumbling's coming.
What is the rumbling, Carl?
The worst bit is I keep falling asleep when I'm watching it and waking up. Like, I don't know how many episodes I was in. Wait, who's that guy? Oh, wait, he's dead. Then I have to go back. Just like anime does that thing of like, you'll start an episode and it'll show you like the previous 5 minutes of the last episode from another person's perspective.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which it does a lot of like, oh, like, there's a big battle, but before they go straight to the battle and blow their load, it's like, here's 5 minutes before the battle from another character point of view. I keep waking up and going, well, I don't remember this, and then the battle happens. Like, no, that was happening. Yeah, I remember that. It's like, goddamn.
I mean, DMC3, I guess, like, if you've your hands still recover, and DMC3 is pretty difficult to get through if you not got like full mobility yet back in your hand. But like,
that's right. Just play Gunslinger.
What is that the case with 3? Just like Gunslinger's easy mode?
Well, it's because you're far away from the enemy, so you don't need to dodge as much.
There, yeah. The genophage is non-negotiable. It's like, honestly, right now, it's like we are in renegade mode, but I just like, obviously, people in chat can when I probably reactivate the viewer reward, because I don't think I've done that. You can select renegade or paragon mode, but like they are still on there. I forgot to take them off. So you
Also,
can use
I'm-
your viewer points to decide whether we go Paragon or Renegade, and I'm just like, this discussion right now is like the Renegade option that we would be picking, just to clarify, is that like we wouldn't want to be curing the genophage. To make that blatantly clear for people right now.
I also like as well this. I'm sort of like a few seconds behind, so I was watching this conversation happen.
Oh,
On the
I'll
stream?
stream it to you so you at least get the audio.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I am. It's obvious that the Krogans are right.
Mm-hmm. I love how that just took like a 2,000 point swing, if not more. Like, it's just no, we stick with the Krogans. Fuck this.
Well, it's like when he's saying like, "Hey, we uplifted you. We know your species best." Like he's talking about a fucking ant farm and not sentient beings, where the crows are. But we saved the galaxy from the Rachni, and your usefulness was achieved.
Yeah.
Goodbye. It's like,
Like,
fuck you, dude.
now you can all go away and just like slowly lose your population due to what we did to you.
Keep in mind as well, like the council will give you like big shit for letting them die. Oh, sorry, it was a calculated risk. It outlived your usefulness. No, that's not fair.
We turn to the Krogan in desperation. It's the same mistake you're about to make today. No good can come from curing the genophage.
But the Krogan deserve a cure.
The Krogan have paid for their mistakes. The genophage has gone on long enough.
Unless you enjoy watching infants born without a heartbeat.
It's the only thing.
The thing is, it's not even like it makes them sterile. It just means they have stillbirth.
Yeah, like it just
So
means
much more
that
like
all of the like the survival rate of the children is just super fucking low.
So if it made them sterile, that's one thing. But it's the fact they're forcing them to carry like stillbirth babies to terms in their thousands.
Malin. He took some kind of twisted pity on
That's
our
some
females
animal.
and tested a cure on them.
New Game Plus, just like ripping your mortgage away from Starfield.
It gets worse. Some of the females survived. They escaped his lab before you got there, Shepard. Embarrassing for the Solarians. So the Dalatress ordered one of her goon squads to take them prisoner.
Where did you get this? It could be a fabrication.
Oh no, it could be an AI video, Carl.
It could be deep fake. I saw Elon Musk sharing it on fake Twitter. Like, no.
Is this true?
Oh, will curing the
I was
genophage
trying to check
benefit
if they'd
my-
like corrected it, but you know, it just kept coming up with like pussy in bio, and it got spammed too hard. I couldn't find an actual answer.
How will the genophage benefit my people?
Well, right
But what-
now, you need bodies for another space war.
Yeah, we're facing annihilation again.
Do you not at least think you could just do the fucking same thing again and like throw some Krogan bodies at the problem? And that's not we won.
You'll last alone against
But even in just that, like,
You don't
the
know,
most
that's how long
pragmatic
I
way of thinking about it.
The last
Yeah.
friendly Turian you ever see.
What's it gonna be?
But even the Taurians are like, fucking give 'em a chance.
STG bases on Surkash. But I warn you, Commander, the consequences of this will be felt.
You know what? I know we're currently Fuck
What
you.
happens if the Reapers win?
Fuck you.
Let's get the females.
You're not setting foot on Surkash. This will take time.
It happens now. As
It's like
council
a bullshit
said,
thing. It's like,
Shepard can
this will be felt for
oversee
generation. We won't have We're not going to have next week, dipshit.
Mm-hmm.
I won't forget this, Commander. A bully has few friends when he needs them most.
Oh,
Do you want-
sorry
do-
I'm
do you want
being
to-
a bully when you're trying to stop an entire species breeding.
Like, do you know what has like what kind of person has less friends? Genociders. By definition, there are literally less people who want to help you.
Oh, fuck me. I'm sorry I was a bit mean. I'm sorry that you did a fucking genocide. Oh, no.
It's like, oh, whoopsie doopsie, you did another genocide, did you? Well, at least, like, Lucas, it's one thing to do a genocide, but it's another thing to be snooty about it.
Sounds like there's fireworks going off outside.
Someone could be.
Yeah, it might be worth just staying Paragon for now. It seems as though this is like the genophage mission.
The renegade option is to just let the Krogan die.
Just be super spacist again.
So you think the renegade option would be to be brutally pragmatic, right?
So who do we want to take on our mission to like not have people genocided?
Javik. I want to know his perspective on everything, and then Edie, because I want to get her cold, calculated, pure logic reason.
Yeah, true.
Because obviously Javik had his people genocided, so he's probably got a lot to say about that. And then Edie's got like the position of pure logic.
Two good perspectives.
It also does remind me of something Joe, and she's talking about how like, well, it's one thing to be a genocide, it's a bad thing to be mean. Like, don't be a dick about it. Have you ever seen that? Like, I think it's like Sean did the breakdown of like Harry Potter, and like why Harry Potter's like. It's this YouTuber just called Sean. So he's his name.
I was like, are you just talking about a friend that we know? Like, no, I don't know who this Sean is.
He does like probably one of the best breakdowns of Harry Potter, where he gets all like the Pottermore stuff. Where there was like a bunch of like Pottermore articles written after the fact, trying to justify all of like the elf slaves.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, and one of the ones that was written was it basically said Hermione has good goals, but the problem with what she was doing is that she was going about it in a very what is it now? A very uptight way. And it's almost like she's like trying to stop slavery.
Yeah.
They also brought up an amazing point that I never thought of. Do you know that whole thing about when they're like Black Hermione? And like they're J.K. Rowling talking about how, Hermione was always envisioned as black in my mind.
Right, okay.
It's like, can you imagine, like, that's bullshit, and that was like J.K. Rowling talking out of her ass to avoid being criticised. Because can you imagine that plot line if Hermione was black?
Yeah.
It's like, I'd never thought of that, and I was like, oh my god, that would be the most cringe-ass shit ever. If you've got like Ron
criticising Hermione for trying to stop slavery while she's a black character, like, that'd be a real good look, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Also, I know it's like a minor point with the fact that like the Crows like let's get the females, but it seems like you go into a party.
It's like we've got to make sure we get more women into the club. Let them in first. God, it's always so sad that like is a legitimate thing that they do.
It is. But then you think about it, like when's the last time you saw a bunch of women getting a fist fight in a nightclub?
Oh no, yeah, but the sad part to me is that it's not because women are like better drunks or it's because more women being in the bar early gets more men in.
Yeah, well, it's
which is the sleazy part of it.
It is. It's like my favourite episode of Bar Rescue, where they go into like a sports bar, and it's like the guy.
Yeah.
Who's the bar for? Like, it's for men. It's for men to get away with women. He goes, no, that's stupid. He goes, why? He goes, what man goes to a bar with no women in it?
Just remember,
ultimately, what woman goes to a bar that's full of men? None.
Yep.
And then his wife like has this little talking head section where she just says very astutely, as John always says, he's never seen a bar with 100 women in business.
Yeah. And that's why they have like ladies' nights and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, yep, it's a profitable thing for bars either way to promote getting more women in. Because either you've got a bar full of women paying for drinks, or you've got a bar that's like mostly full of women that's enticing more men to come in.
It's like near universally, women are better clientele for near enough every form of business to exist.
Also, yeah, we didn't. It's not that we saved Grunt necessarily, but like Grunt did survive in Mass Effect 2. Every single member of our party survived, bar Aid.
Who? It'll never stop being funny.
I don't know. We paid some mercenary to go on a suicide mission and they died along the way, so seems pretty fitting. Like he had all of 2 conversations with us and then stopped talking. And was just like, I'm here to get a job done. And he did. and he died for it.
Commander Shepard, restrain your colleague. We only found out about this transfer a few moments ago.
You should apologize. Fuck you.
I mean,
apologize.
realistically, yes. Dobby should be on a revenge spree, but the reason why presumably he's not is that even though he's like a free elf, they still somehow write the elves as being like respectful of the whole fucking slavery situation. So like, as much as he could sneak a sock into every item and give it to an elf, like Harry did to Dobby, it's like written in that way of like, no, because like he respects the fact that the masters of other elves would not want to give like fake freedom or whatever. It's like, fuck off. Dobby should be just going around and like fucking some shit up.
The real answer is just J.K. Rowling was not a good enough writer to explore a topic that heavy. And she didn't realise like the implications when she wrote it, because the inspiration for Dobby is clearly the old stories, myths, and folktales about elves, where sometimes like elves are shoemakers. That's why like elves and gnomes and stuff are traditionally depicted living in houses. Like they would come and fix your shoes. Like the whole idea of leaving your shoes outside, they say elves or gnomes would come and fix them. Like they would come and fix your shoes, and then like you'd leave like a penny or something like that. So it's based on that idea of these unseen little creatures that will do like random household tasks for you.
And
but
like,
then make them like a weird
instead of like, oh, elves are bored and will help shoemakers finish up the shoes of a knight to help them out and like live in a harmonious relationship. It's like, no, elves are slaves. It's like, great.
Yeah, like she could have very easily written it so like, oh, the elves will like, if your elf is in your household and you treat it right, it will help with household chores. If it doesn't, it will be make it like Peeves or something like that, like the ghosts. If you treat them right, they'll be nice. If you don't, they'll make the house like a piece of shit.
Yeah, and like, the laundry, I presume, like, I guess the rule is that like specifically if they're putting just clothes into some kind of laundry basket or something, that doesn't count as them giving a clothing item to an elf.
Nah, it's like there's probably a bunch of rules about it, but it's a very
probably not many rules. Probably really thought very poorly through, right?
Well, the Harry Potter universe poorly thought through.
Like,
say so.
Who would have thunk it? It's like it works fine for a universe or a kids book, like series of books. But like now that we're all like in our 40s and 30s and stuff of people that like grew up reading it and like as kids or teenagers or whatever, like now that we all have that thought to like think of these things and think a bit more, around the very basic premise of it all, it's like, oh, it falls apart pretty quick.
Immediately, yes. And it could have just been a kid's story with kids stuff in it, and she could have just riffed on folktales, like I said. She didn't have to write herself into a corner, but her response to being criticised was always to double down, as we've seen with everything she's done since. That is her raison d'etre.
Yeah, then there's the goblins who are, very poor stereotypes at very least in the movies, and again, the less said about it, the better. But as a kid, you don't notice. But then when you're like 13, you're looking back at it and people are pointing this shit out. It's like, oh yeah. Oh.
What's the thing? It's like you won't notice it as a kid, but you think the fully grown adult person, right?
You would hope, but then a lot of people that are adults now just have too much blind nostalgia for it to really care.
Yeah, it's like the last thing on J.K. Rowling is like, it's one thing for other people not to know what you think she would of her pseudonym, Robert Galbraith. Do you know, like, that's a real guy? That's the name of a person? When J.K. Rowling was asked, like, where'd you get that name from? So, it's based on an old school teacher, but no one by that name has ever taught at any school she attended. Robert Galbraith, if you go Google that name and just skip past the part about him writing like casual vacancy, is the name of the guy who invented gay conversion therapy. Like, he's the guy who came up with the idea of like zapping gay people's brains to make them straight. And you can say she didn't know that, but you think she Googled it first? Wouldn't you Google your pseudonym, Lucas?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't your publisher Google your pseudonym?
Yeah.
What kind of work goes on here?
Evolutionary trials, morphological simulations.
Also take note that
assessments.
was, I think, the
Nothing is ever simple with
second
Solarians, is it?
appearance ever of
Science has
the
always been our best defense.
race of aliens,
The research we do
the
here
Shadow
has kept
Broker one,
Sukesh safe for millennia.
Yeah.
locked
Like,
up
it's
in
good.
one of these little cells here.
But they're just doing all sorts of weird bullshit to it.
Oh shit.
Does that include studying lost
We've been
Krogan?
doing all sorts of studies. Do you mean like studying Krogans?
Stabilize their condition.
Touch me and I'll rip your head off.
I'd like to see them.
So hopefully, I'm getting a bit of crackle through my headphones. I hope that's not coming through the game. I hope that's just my headphones being a bit weird. Let me know in chat. Also, chat, I meant to mention earlier, I saw Ross self mention a game, what's it called? In chat, Thank Goodness You're Here, which is like a game that I was going to ask about if people in chat want to like either know about it or want to Google it while we're here. Just Thank Goodness You're Here is like just like a weird looking little indie game that's coming out at the start of August, and I like it's one of the games that I've been sent a like PR email about of like, do you want to get a code for it? So it looks like a fun little weird comedy game based in like the north of England, going through a weird little village, and I'm like, if people in chat are curious, I can get a code and we can do a night of streaming it and seeing how it is.
And do all the accents.
Well, it's fully voiced as well. Matt Berry has a voice role, so yeah. I mean, Matt Berry has a pretty good track record with his projects.
He does. He doesn't pick bad ones, does he?
Generally speaking, no. It's like, yeah, you know, he's been in the few things that were created by just like an absolute asshole. But to be fair, they hadn't come out as a like massive transphobe at the time and hadn't shown how weirdly obsessed with they were with that shit. So, you know, you give people signing on to those projects a pass because that was not in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and Matt Berry, when he was asked about it, just straight up said, like, yeah, it was a problem, and I think that Graham Linehan has gone too far.
Yep.
Like, he's been very vocally supportive of, like, gay pride and stuff like that.
Commander Shepard, I'm Lieutenant Tolan. I've heard about your exploits against the Reapers.
It's like, I still see
Your mission on Vermeer holds special renown.
value in the TV shows that guy wrote.
But now,
but you know,
not so sure.
Him as a creator and him as a person can go fuck himself.
Yep.
And again,
So
it's
that
just
guy.
always that thing, isn't it? Of like the same thing with Harry Potter. It's really difficult to like be able to enjoy those things now that you know what the creator has become like, and presumably it's just that they've become more vocal about their opinions as they feel like they're more untouchable and powerful now. But
I think a lot of it's brain rot as well. It's that thing of like
agree with what I'm doing here.
like generally when you get to that level of success and fame, being told that you're wrong is something that you don't like.
We're ill prepared to face a resurgent Krogan.
So you only have to go look at J.K. Rowling's history as when Harry Potter came out, and then like it became this global cultural phenomenon. But it was written in the 90s by a woman born in like the 70s or 60s who grew up in before that, who was very middle class and out of touch. And they started asking questions like, then it got a huge near universal fan base, which includes people from diverse groups. And then people started to notice, why are there no black people in your like stories? Like, for example, when the movies came out, which she helped cast, why is there like one black character in it who's unnamed? Why is it that whoever the fuck it is that Ron dates was initially played by a black girl?
Lavender Brown, until she became Ron's girlfriend in a movie. I think it was The Goblet of Fire, where she becomes like a love interest and all of a sudden is a white character.
Yeah, she got redone. Why is it that all of the names for characters who are from ethnic groups are incredibly offensive, like Cho Chang, which people have pointed out
even if they're
is
not
like
necessarily like offensive, they're at very least all complete stereotypes.
Well, the thing about Cho Chang is that those two names, like a lot of Asian people didn't recognize her as an Asian character because it'd be the equivalent. Someone said like, I think it's it's like two random names stuck together. It'd be like meeting someone called Smith.
Yeah, right.
It's two surnames, but two surnames from different Asian regions.
It's like it's not really a name that you would generally ever encounter in any culture.
Yeah, it's like
just,
someone called like
I
Smith
just took
Lopez.
two Asian names and slapped them together.
Same thing for like when she was asked like, well, the other like magic schools, and she's like, yeah, there's one in like Japan, and the name is just, if you went onto Google Translate, it's the Japanese words for magic place,
right?
Thrown together by someone who doesn't speak Japanese. And as Shadow points out, Seamus O'Finnegan, the Irish character who blows everything up. He might as well go like Irish McCarbon.
Yeah.
History will repeat.
An outcome that
Or like
can't be discounted.
Kingsley Shacklebolt, the black character.
I was going to say who is like the one consistently black character, right?
Yeah, but what's his name? King, as in Martin Luther King. Shackle. Bolt.
Security seems high.
Man.
You expecting trouble?
That's the
You
name.
revealed the existence of Krogan,
Certain
who are
choice
new to the
name,
Jack
right?
Frost,
It's
Commander.
like great.
Yeah, or
Word
the
will
other
get
black
out.
character,
You're now a
Lee
prime
Jordan.
target.
Spike Lee, Michael Jordan.
Right.
It's very fun when you think about it, but obviously, like, she was very resistant to like criticism, and she would always snap back at it of like, no, there's plenty of like diversity in my universe. Like, there's plenty of gay characters. Dumbledore's gay, retroactively,
Yes.
but she just seemingly drew the line at the trans like comments. She just drew the line at that, and then immediately walked back everything else she'd said.
Literally, even though there's like, as we've mentioned plenty of times, there's multiple things throughout both the books and movies that are like perfect allegories for like trans positivity and being the person that you want to be, not who you are.
It's literally the point of the story. Yeah, is that, oh yeah, Harry Potter, you'd do great in Slytherin, but I don't feel like a Slytherin inside, even though that's what everyone sees me as. But if you feel like a Gryffindor, if that's who you are truly inside, then we'll respect your decision and acknowledge you as such.
Not necessarily a trans character, but a person that can literally change their appearance and presume a gender at will is Tongs.
Yeah, Nymphadora Tonks.
Like, they literally in the book don't just change their hair, they can change their entire appearance.
They also go by gender-neutral pronouns. Again, but she just resisted it. Same with Graham Linehan, before he like got out as a weird transphobe, was incredibly like progressively outspoken. Like one of the best episodes of Father Ted is like, just tearing down the dogma of the church, being like just weirdly critical and censorious over challenging content.
It's just like, yeah, and they just take these weird swings out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere publicly.
Yeah.
And then it's not just necessarily that like they have weird views, it's how outspoken and how obsessed they are with those weird views as well.
It's because the moment they get criticised, they push back because they're not used to being pushed back on. So when they do, the only option is to double down. So it's like, to be told that you're wrong when you're that far gone is the only option is to keep doubling down and digging.
And also, Ross, like, I do understand that, like, yes, not necessarily everyone comes up, like, grows up with, like, in a place or in a background where, like, you are exposed to much cultural diversity. I was basically in an almost completely white area growing up. Like, didn't really speak to anyone that wasn't, like, pale as fuck. Didn't really, like, see many people that weren't. And it's just one of those things, though, of, like, the way that I chose to react to that is, like, keeping an open mind, right? And, like, not trying to make that my entire personality of like, well, I've only experienced this in the past, I'm going to close myself off to other people and other cultures. Like, it's, a lot of it is on your background and how you were raised and stuff, but it's also at some point your own personal responsibility to like widen your horizons a bit.
Yeah, it's what my ex always said. Of when I'd like, on the channel, people go, "Whoa, why are you so why do you just so immediately ban people for just like asking questions? Like, it's not my responsibility to make you be a better person.
And like, we don't obviously, as people know in my own chat and people have been a part of watching our content and stuff, it's not that we immediately ban everybody that has any question to ask. It's just like, sometimes with how, you know, horrible people can get with their viewpoints online and stuff, it's at some point our responsibility to make a community that's a safe place, not necessarily one that just bends to, you know, let every single person have any opinion that they want and just use the excuse of like, well, I didn't know better.
It's like other people's ability to feel safe trumps your comfort. Is the best way to put it. Yeah, that's what My Hero Academia does have several trans characters. Like a lot of anime does. And a lot of Japanese media does, and it's not really a big deal.
Your fish ends.
Just keep asking about the females. Where the Krogan ladies at?
I differ from most of my colleagues.
Where's the fish reward?
Oh, they all died.
In the future, the Krogan may yet play some role we can't even imagine. We should let the evolutionary
It's definitely there.
lives and dies,
Definitely.
not galactic politics.
Definitely. Don't know what.
Do you know what I like about this as well? His argument for curing the genophage is not that it was wrong to do it. It's like, well, in the future, we might need to use the Krogan again.
Proceed into the elevator when you're ready.
Which is just fucking brutal, right? It's like, we shouldn't kill them all because we might need to use them as tools in warfare.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I agree. Maybe we should, like, keep some Krogans around and maybe keep the idea of, like, curing the genophage. Oh, cool, like, someone who's a bit of an ice guy, like, because we might be able to use them to throw at another fucking army in the future.
Yeah. It'd be stupid to throw away such a useful tool.
Yeah, it's...
So we definitely should keep this, like, vial of anthrax on ice. Oh, so we always know like how it's used in case it's used in warfare.
No, in case we need to use the anthrax on someone.
That's the thing, innit? We should definitely keep examples of this. What? So we can make a cure in case it's not fully cured, like you're fully eradicated? No, in case we need to use it. Like, God damn it, you were so close. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to always remember that, like, what you see of a culture and what you see of people in general is a slither of their actual lived experiences.
Understandable. Hadn't expected to return to work.
His speech is strange.
Prothean. Excellent.
Like,
with STG?
I mean, yeah,
Special consultant.
fucking poverty and
Might have gotten it wrong.
stuff like that is a real problem, and like, just the way that this entire country is set up is, you know, not great for you know, people of different cultures and stuff. There's a lot of things that go into this, and it's like, for me to just sit here and try to explain to anyone that, like, you know, I wouldn't do the best job of it. It would be very mucky, but yes, I understand that.
Didn't survive.
There are definitely things that like skew people's opinion, and then there's very loud people that try to push those opinions to a more extreme end, and like,
yeah,
it's just a shit situation. And I wish that there weren't people trying to push those agendas, but there are.
Yeah, the important thing to note is the people trying to push it towards the extreme end and not doing it because they care about you as a person. It's because they want to further their own selfish goals. They like similar to, like, you know, that weird Solarian just there. It's like they use a tool that they can use in their weird reaction.
It's
whatever they can latch onto to, like, you know, get you on board, they will abuse and take advantage of.
It's something that I was like, I watched you know, just a TikTok that started this conversation and thought in my brain not long ago, and it was that the idea of like being a quote unquote pizza monster to other people, in the sense that like you may think when you're interacting with other people that, well, you assume they know who I am. Like, we've met once or twice, like, they know I'm a nice person, but it's like, but the idea is that like the whole start of this conversation and then being like the pizza monster is like, oh, but they thought they saw someone a party take more pizza than everybody else had. So, like, in their head, even though that person wasn't you, they looked like you and mistook them for you. So now, because of that one, like, you know, misunderstanding, that person in their head sees you as the pizza monster.
Yeah, it's like you're
like,
applying like a single.
They essentially have one little slither of your experiences in their head, and they're like, that's the person who stole all the pizza at the party. And is it in your head you think, oh well, they know me and they're interacting with like a human being, but the way that they're sitting there and thinking of you is just that's the guy that stole all that pizza one time. They're a bellend.
If someone nicks all my pizza, I would never forgive them.
And that's the thing, right? Is like that would be a fair enough assumption. Is like, oh well, that person naturally must be an asshole because I saw them steal all the pizza at the party. And it's like, but then you think in your head, well, this person's like really rude and standoffish, and like that's then your impression of them, because the only experience you've had is them being standoffish because you're a pizza monster to them. And it's like, it gets really weird of like that thing of like you're always under the assumption that everyone understands all of your experiences in life, and like that's how you understand yourself of like, well, you know, I'm always a nice person, apart from like the times when like I'm, you know, ill and a bit like grouchy with people or something. And it's like, but what about the people that only experience you when you are grouchy, when you haven't slept very well, when you're not feeling well?
AKA everyone you talk to at work.
Yeah. And like, people don't know you as you, the person. They know you as this tiny little small amount of experience they've had with you in the past. And it's only really close relationships that will get to know you more as an actual well-rounded being, and not just like, here's a tiny little experience I have of you as a person, and that's you as a person to them.
And if that experience is overwhelmingly or just generally negative, he doesn't. Like, it's all the classic, isn't it? It's like, you know, I'm a nice guy when you get to know me. It's like, well, I don't want to get to know you if you're a prick.
Yeah. And it's just like one of those things of like, yeah, as you know, say for example in fucking Mass Effect, all we know about Commander Shepard, or most people know about Commander Shepard, is the fucking stories of Commander Shepard being like this fucking war hero that's murdered a bunch of people and saved the galaxy, presumably, or the fucking murderous war hero that went on a rampage and got themselves put under house arrest for being like too fucking irresponsible.
Well, to be fair, if that was true, then people would show us a bit more fucking respect. Because either they know we save the universe, or they know we'll shoot people who would disagree with us.
But Mordin knows us a little bit better. Mordin, like, sang us a song. Mordin got us banging some aliens.
He did. You go on that alien condom, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Only the cure matters. It's brutal, but it's true.
So, like, you did your best, Mordin. We're playing Paragon right now.
But still, like, fuck it, only the cure matters.
Arrived too late. Cannot delay now. One survivor, immune to genophage, can synthesize cure from her tissue.
Oh yeah,
She's still here.
I hate those people. Like, every time that you get like told about a person that's like coming along to a party that you don't know, or going to like a night out that you don't know, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, they're a character. You have to get to know them a bit, and you're like, oh no, like not that kind of person. Like, because inevitably they're not normally a nice person.
No, they're a prick. Like, Lucas,
they're normally a prick, and their friend has known them long enough to like justify their actions.
Yeah, I'm not going to say their name, but you know, Lucas, we have a mutual friend who had a friend who was exactly like that. Who just, they'd turn up to a house party and they would just be immediately obnoxious and offensive and play devil's advocate in every conversation that went on just to be a prick.
And literally, like, would walk into every conversation and try to just be an argumentative prick. And it's like, that they were like their friend, you know, our friend from high school, where they're like, oh no, but like, he's a funny, nice guy. Like, really? but it just doesn't come across well on like first impression. It's like, no, I've met the guy like 8 times and he's been a dick every time. At some point, you've got to stop making excuses for them. They're just a prick.
I remember the time where he said he does it because he likes to get a rise out of people. And you'll know, Lucas, like, how fucking bad this is. He said, yeah, wants to do it, walked into a pub in Liverpool and said, like, 47 wasn't enough. In reference to the Hillsborough disaster.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if 47 is the exact number who died, but he said that.
I can't remember the exact number, but like...
He did, and he said it out loud to Liverpool fans just to get a rise out of them.
It's like, great. Fantastic. What a like, seemingly nice person at heart, right? You know, when you get to know them, they're a nice guy. It's like, are they?
Like Commander Shepard's eyes say it all.
Not everyone necessarily makes the best first impression, but when it's like the friend that they're like making excuses for before you even meet them, and you're just like, I don't want to meet the person then. Yeah, I just can't be arsed dealing with people like that. It's like, well, if you're gonna just actively try and stir the pot and just cause shit every time I'm in the room with you, why would I want to be in a room with you? And I'm not I don't have knowledge of your mother. I'm not attacking your mother red hot.
I am.
But like, yeah, just like, I find that type of person just so exhausting. I'm just like, okay, I don't have time for that person in my life anymore.
I do love that phrase, exhausting. It's so useful a phrase to use when referring to just like people or energy vampire.
Oh yeah.
You're the future of the Krogan race.
It's like back in high school where I kind of realized like, oh, I was like, you know, a very like mopey teenager, and every time I'd like go out, I'd actively just talk about like all the negative things going on in my life rather than anything positive.
What's happening?
And I was like, man, I just bring people down every time I'm around anyone, don't I?
Yeah.
Like,
Not now.
I don't want to be that kind of person. Like, I've realized this maybe, you know, like a good enough age where I was like maybe like 16, 17.
It might be safer down here.
And was like, yeah, maybe I should change my ways of like talking to people a bit and not just jump on everyone and tell everyone life's shit all the time.
Release the female. We're leaving. I can't.
Do it. There's one girl at this club, it sucks, I'm out.
Objection noted. Now, please release Krogan.
And this is where Mordin's like, you know what? I've actually had enough of your shit.
Yeah.
It's like, Mordin, obviously, if people aren't aware, helped. Not only helped make the genophage a thing and help deploy it, Mordin also stopped one of his proteges in Mass Effect 2's loyalty mission with him. He stops his protege from trying to cure the genophage. And then in this game, he's like realized the error of his ways and is like, I kind of realize now how much I've fucked up and I need to do as much as possible to make this right.
It's one of those like just key defining parts of this game that make it special. You can really tell a lot about a person by their approach, because I have never ever wavered on the Krogan 100% do not deserve it.
Yeah, it's like I've YouTubed the scenarios involving this where like no going full renegade and deciding to be like, no, fuck the Krogans. I've googled it and like looked it up and watched videos and stuff. I've never been able to commit in my playthrough to being that person.
It just feels like such a dick move, but someone out there must think it is the correct moral choice.
A lot of people do. Like, we've had discussions on Wiki Weekends where like a lot of the comments have been like, no, you actually just don't get it. Like, the Rachni are the evil ones, or the Krogan should totally be killed. Like, people are out there just fully endorsing the death of all these Krogans.
It's wild. It's like you can justify it if it's something like a wild animal, like, you know, if it's culling animals. When like you can talk to the thing, any moral justification for like eradication completely just falls flat.
And I don't even
Right.
think you can justify extinction of like an animal that can't fucking prove sentience. Like
Maybe something like mosquitoes. There was that whole thing of like, would it be ethical to just kill mosquitoes
I mean, maybe,
or
but like
or
that
wasps?
again, that's our viewpoint as humans, where it's
Yeah.
like, well, they provide no food for us, and all they do is spread disease.
Right, and that's the one that, and that's a genuine ethical dilemma happening right now. Like, okay, if you ask most people, it's like, yeah, fuck mosquitoes, don't do anything. It's like, but we do have to do very.
But I'm sure if you
specific-
asked, like, if you could have a conversation with, like, I don't know, frogs that eat mosquitoes all day long. I don't know what actually eats mosquitoes, to clarify.
Well,
I'm
that's why
just
it's an
using a frog
argument.
as an example. If I could actually have a conversation and like translate what the frog is saying, and I said to them, like, do you want me to wipe mosquitoes off the earth? They'd probably be like, fuck no, I eat that shit.
Well, that's the thing, is like, that's why it's an argument, because there's the argument that if we did, it probably wouldn't cause that much ecological damage because they don't really serve anything. But the question is, like, is there an unknown like service they provide to the wider ecology that we're not aware of, that we'd have to be absolutely fucking sure is not important?
Yeah, exactly. And I also know that, like, there are examples of, you know, in certain places they make like mosquito burgers and stuff because it's a really easy free source of free protein, right? And like,
yeah,
it's like, how much would that impact people that rely on that source of protein, for example?
Yeah, there's a story, and then you get to the point of like, well, the people who die of malaria, you replace. It's like, you don't want to be in that situation where you're weighing lives against each other. Like, all lives
Exactly,
should be.
like how many people benefit from their existence compared to how many people die from them spreading malaria, right?
Yeah.
And how do you weigh
moral,
those lives against one another?
and they are, you know, the moral conversations that can arise from a game like this. It's like, it's a similar thing. You extrapolate and just apply it as a.
But like, you know,
metaphor.
for example, me, I have I've had several horrible experiences with wasps in my life, and I'm very, very fucking afraid of wasps. And if you asked me, as a completely biased person against wasps, I'd be, fuck them. I don't care how much they pollinate, fuck them. Kill all the wasps. Like, that's the stance I would take. I'd be like, fuck them. They can do one.
Wasps are another one where it's like, they don't really serve a purpose for us, but they do. They are a part of the wider ecology. But it's bees that we need to be careful for. Like, everyone loves bees.
Bees are way more like profound pollinators than wasps are, but wasps still do contribute.
Not enough. Not enough to escape the lasers.
We are a nightmare biotic being, but we've played for like an hour and not done any gameplay yet. But I don't necessarily like streaming Mass Effect because we get to play Mass Effect, and I just enjoy having conversations about it.
That's the thing. The gameplay is secondary to the story.
There's a bee. I have not heard of it.
It's a bee that eats meat.
Oh.
There's lots of weird, shitty bees. It's crazy.
I mean, that's the thing, right? There's so many different breeds of bees and wasps and hornets and stuff. It's crazy.
There's so many bee subclasses.
That's very true. Like, mosquitoes are the reason that we save the planet in Lilo and Stitch. That's very true.
It is.
I love that, because it's like, what do you mean mosquitoes are an endangered species and they need to be protected? And it's like one of the last lines they drop of like, oh yeah, I once convinced them to like protect the entire Earth from destruction because I convinced them mosquitoes were an endangered species. And it's like, it's such a just great line for like Cobra Bubbles to just drop at the end of like,
yeah,
fucking got them.
Fucking stupid aliens, eat shit. Hope someone comes up and genocides all of you. Get wrecked.
But yes, there also was a Doom game announced, which for me was like pretty much the only announcement. Like, there was a lot of like games getting. I know, to be fair, the start and the end for me of the Xbox showcase was like cool. The rest of it was like, man, there's a lot of lot of games taking themselves very serious. It's like every game was like, here's another shooter game that's very serious and drab, or here's another narrative game, and I'm like,
even Fable looks really
Ooh.
serious now, and I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
have a sense of humor.
It did have a bit more humor than everything else, but it definitely felt way less humorous than previous Fables did.
I don't know, the funniest fucking thing I saw is that Call of Duty game where they put Saddam Hussein in it.
I didn't even watch the Call of Duty shit.
I was just laughing my ass off of like, Saddam Hussein's the final boss.
Wow.
And then me and Charlie were watching it when they said Black Ops 6, we both burst out laughing.
Yeah, I watched it. I was like visiting family on the day, so like I watched it later and just skipped the Call of Duty trailer and shit. I forgot I opened with Call of Duty and not Doom, and it was like, oh, watch Call of Duty like at the end of the stream as well. So you've already got 25 minutes dedicated to Call of Duty. You don't need to start with the Call of Duty trailer as well. Of course, it's gonna be like 300 gig. It's like the way that they've made that game now is like,
it's horrendous.
You've got to like download like all of Warzone and other bits of other games and the current game. So like every new release is like stacking more shit on top of the shit monster that is Call of Duty.
It's also every time you get a disc. When you get the disc and you install it, you have to boot up the game to be told this is not the full game. Go download these 6 separate add-on packs that you have to individually select and buy for 0 pence separately, rather than just being automatic download when you put the disc in.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I agree that there was a lot of cool looking stuff in that trailer, but a lot of it was just updates on things that I was like already knew about and was like, cool, I guess we're getting like a Fable update, but it doesn't really say much other than I guess Fable's coming at some point, or it was just stuff that like was not for me. Like the Valorant coming to console, great, that's cool. Not for me. Like the Indiana Jones game looks fine, probably not really for me.
The Indiana Jones game's weird because why is it a first-person game?
Because it was like, it's the Wolfenstein people making it.
But even still, why does it look bad?
But it's still a weird choice to make it that like weird first-person like punching and whip combat stuff in there.
It also looked really bad because the field of view was all knocked off, and it looks like Indiana Jones is walking with his arms by his side, like he's carrying carpets.
It looked a little bit jankier than it probably should, yeah. But I did really enjoy the Doom trailer. The moment it was like
fucking Doom.
Yeah, exactly right. And they did.
That is a video game right there.
Just before I was listening to this, I got partway through the IGN interview with like Phil Spencer, and then they got to like the bit with Hugo Martin, where they are like the head like creative in terms of like Doom series, and they were like, yeah, talking about glory kills and stuff. Like in this one, you're not going to be forced to kill opponents in specific ways anymore. We heard that feedback. It's like, thank fuck for that.
It was, glory kills were great as a mechanic, but the fact you had all the bigger demons needed to be killed that way.
In the specific way to set up the glory kills stuff, yeah.
Yeah. They made it too much puzzly. Like I think we talked about in the Doom Eternal playthrough that we did. It's really fun, but they clearly were annoyed that people weren't using the full weapon wheel in Doom 1. And rather than make the weapons more satisfying to use, made so certain enemies just couldn't be killed by anything other than a certain gun, which has meant that gun felt like a chore to use. If
they
you didn't
made
enjoy
it like they doubled down on that whole chess combat that they said in the first one, and like they really like doubled and then tripled down in the expansion on it. Of like, no, every enemy has like one way to get the kill on them. It's like, or just let me use whatever fucking weapon I want. And if there's a way to kill the enemy more efficiently by doing the one thing that can kill it that way, but like maybe there's an easy way to kill each enemy, but let me kill every enemy with whatever weapon I want.
All they need to do to incentivize weapons being used is just say you pick up more ammo for guns you're not actively using. Done. So if you like using the shotgun, you won't pick up ammo for a shotgun while you're using it. Switch to your machine gun, you'll pick up shotgun ammo. Done.
Yeah, the weaponry look cool as fuck. Of like, yeah, chainsaw shield, like the gun that, yeah, just starts grinding skulls to be used as like shotgun pellets. That is one of the most metal-looking guns I've ever fucking seen in any video game.
So I just looked at our mutual friend and said, "Why has Warhammer not got that yet?" Is Warhammer going to sue someone over this?
Also, yes, the Wolfenstein people are making the Indiana Jones game, so they just love making games about fucking punching Nazis.
Even still, it's such a weird decision to make it first person.
It is, but then they're gonna have third person moments, but they're not making you using the whip be a third person thing. It's going to be weird, and I'm intrigued to see how it works.
There's also that thing as well of, is it Harrison Ford's likeness?
So
because it really looks like it, but it's not his voice.
Harrison Ford's likeness, but it is confirmed to be Troy Baker doing the voice.
At which point, why get Harrison Ford's likeness?
Because that's Indiana Jones, right? It's like, even with the newer movies, where it's like, could you not? Did you have to rely on like an 80-year-old or whatever he is, Harrison Ford? Like, does he really still need to be the action star at the heart of this franchise? And clearly they think yes, like there is no other answer to like move Indiana Jones on. I don't know what they're gonna do when he does, like, you know, unfortunately pass away or get too old to act. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Previous one, he was gonna be fucking Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, then Shia LaBeouf was weird Shia LaBeouf for a long time.
They still had it set up that he was gonna be his son.
Well, he was his son, and they did set him up as the follow-up.
Yeah, but that's it. It didn't have to be the same actor, but they could have had a younger Indiana Jones be his son.
Yeah, they could have just recast Shia LaBeouf. True.
But you even have the moment where, like, you know, he puts the hat on, and Harrison Ford's like, not yet.
Yeah, it's very odd that they clearly, when number 4 came out, went, we can't keep relying on Harrison Ford. Then the reception to that movie came out, and they went, I guess we've got to keep relying on Harrison Ford.
The thing is, though, I remember when I, like, you know, was a kid, and like got Christmas time, and they, like, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark came on. And I remember sitting there as a little kid thinking, this would be so much better if the lead actor was 75 years old. God, I think it's so fucking creepy. I don't like it. Stop looking at it.
There's multiple of them. Yeah, like, again, the Snake Eater thing, I'm like, it's cool to know that they're getting a Snake Eater remake, and like, I don't need to see more of a Snake Eater remake trailer.
The only thing I need to know, is it David Hayter's voice? Yes, it is. Done. Sorted.
I was kind of like, a lot of this stuff is like, especially with the fact that I'm a person that's always subscribed to Game Pass anyway, so I don't need to personally be sold on this stuff. So I'm just like, okay, you're showing me more of a thing I was already going to try out and play on Game Pass anyway, like... And I get that I'm just a bit of a weird person in this situation, because a lot of people are, like, super hyped by a lot of the stuff in that showcase, but... To me, it was just, like... Cool? Like, there was the Gears announcement and the Doom announcement.
The Gears one is so fucking funny, because I saw it and went, oh, is that young Marcus Phoenix?
Yeah.
And they bring young... And it's like, so has he just not changed his outfit in 4 years?
So... I mean, like, it's just armor, right?
No, he's wearing the bandana.
Oh, yeah, that bandana. It's 15 years before Gears of 1, apparently. Which means that Marcus Phoenix didn't change that bandana for maybe 20 years. He kept that same sweaty-ass bandana.
You know what? I'm all right with Gears, because Gears is fun. Gears of War is a really fun franchise.
But tell me how you are not committed to, like, the reboot.
Yeah,
without telling me that you're not committed to it. Like, oh, what about that, you know, Gears 4 and 5 storyline that you were going through? Yeah, we really wanted to tell the story of, like, Marcus Phoenix again. It's like... Right.
A character we had 3 games.
Yeah. Potentially 4, because I never played Judgment. I don't know how much Marcus was involved in Judgment. I know Baird was.
I would have been down for E-Day if it wasn't for the perspective of Marcus. Give me the perspective of anybody fucking else in that universe and make it like a survival horror.
And yeah, I will agree with you there, Shadow, of like, kind of almost similar to streaming streaming movies and stuff, or TV, is like, you're way more willing to just immediately give up on it after an hour or two without like having necessarily invested in that game specifically. Like the amount of times that I've just started a film on streaming, got half an hour worked through, and gone,
We'll do more than challenge them.
I'll try something else.
Yeah.
This isn't grabbing me. Whereas, yeah, if I'd spent a tenner on the movie, I would have watched it.
There's one for me that I've had like on my list for ages. That my friend who went to like Thailand, when they get back to watching it, it's called Orange Man. It's about a villain who beats people to death with a bag of oranges, and I'm like, that's so good. Let's watch. We waiting for 6 weeks.
Fair enough.
Wait for the wiki weekends on that.
But,
I love the little combat roll you do is like that. Speaking of Gears of War, that combat roll. Wouldn't it have been great if in like the reveal trailer for E-Day, Marcus Phoenix was like crab walking?
Hang on, we're trying to get
He hasn't learned that tech yet, Carl. I love that. Just push him off the edge. Like, fuck you.
It's always the funniest tactic,
Fuck
right?
him.
all hostiles are down.
All hostiles down because you just push them all off the balcony.
The best bit as well, they've all got jetpacks. Like, imagine that. Imagine having a jetpack and getting pushed.
The end of a cycle always marks the beginning of chaos.
You sound as if you speak from experience.
Oh, the Killer Bean game. Yeah, that looked like... That was one of the more, like, just fun notes on the Jeff Keighley side of things, like the Summer Games
Just the
Festival.
fact that he was just the guy who made it is one guy and he works on a Matrix movie. There's like his wife, like, stuff
Oh my
like, she
God.
plays in the game. That looks like that'd be a very fun 15 hours.
It's just, man, yeah, like... Again, like, that's the kind of shit where... For me, watching the Xbox stuff, I was like, there's a complete lack of levity here.
Yeah, that's why that Killer Bean game was so like baffling. Of like, why is this here? 'Cause this looks hilarious. This looks like this would be a really fun like 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's like the same with one was talking earlier about that the game that's just like the one with Matt Berry in it. Like, okay, it's just like this weird cartoony game where like everything's super bizarre in like this random made up Northern English town and everyone's bouncing around and shit, and it's like I'm up for some weird stuff that's just like not like other games.
Yeah, it's like party animals. Like, it's what Gang Beasts could have been.
Oh,
Whatever
I really like Party Animals. Presumably that trailer was just like, here's some new update stuff, but like,
yeah,
it's already on Game Pass, and like, I've played it and it's just cool. It's Gang Beasts, but with more interesting levels and with melee weapons. Excellent.
how did Gang Beasts not become a bigger thing? Why did they not invest so much?
It's wild, right? Yeah.
I think Gang Beasts suffered the same problem as like Fall Guys and Among Us. It's like, okay, it's really fun to play against the one person who knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
The one person who knows how to play ruins it for everybody else.
speaking of fucking Among Us, like, fair play to them of just coming on stage and being like, yeah, so our game popped the fuck off, so we're just gonna spend a shit ton of money publishing other indie games now.
Yeah.
Like, we're just gonna go fund a bunch of other people because we know what it was like for our game to not get noticed for years, and now we've got money, we're gonna just help other indie creators. I was like, well, any other successful indie game could be doing that, an indie creator could be doing that, but they're not. But
No.
Inner Sloth, who made Among Us, fucking are. And they're just they're sharing the wealth, quite literally, like. So, fucking absolute shout out to them, just being like, fuck it, we got lucky and made money, we're gonna help other people make their work. Like, absolute king shit that we could see fucking more of.
Do you think, right, these guys, when they're coming in like heavy assault SWAT gear with laser guns to shoot an unarmed woman, they think maybe we're the bad guys? Do you think that ever occurs to them? Like, what's our mission? You need to go shoot an unarmed pregnant woman in the head. Why?
We're the good guys.
Oh, because, you know, it might mean that their species can breed properly again. Oh, got it. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's murder this woman. I don't know much about Among Us. They didn't stop making updates, I know that much, but I don't particularly know much about it other than, you know, it popping off when it did and having a lot of updates. I'm just like, oh cool, they're getting a TV show and they're still making Among Us content, and honestly, at this point, I'm just like, they can do whatever they want if they're gonna use their profits to just help other artists make their content.
Yeah, they made their money.
Yeah. I'm not gonna sit there and watch the Among Us TV show, but if it's gonna help them make more money to help other people make more cool games, like, absolutely.
Yeah. So the Among Us TV show is like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It's like I just got it.
It's not. It's just not for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Call of the Lamb get a co-op mode? I didn't see that.
Excellent. Affinity for destruction intact, Shepard. Shall clear us through now. Clear us through first.
Pretty cool. I mean, it's like, it's one of those of,
How you holding up?
for me, I'm just like, I had my fun with that game and I finished it. I didn't ever feel the need to actually, like, I never got drawn back into the updates and stuff.
Hang in there.
But for anyone that, like, hasn't finished or hasn't played it or anything, that's a cool update to get.
I have some value to read now. He'll be there.
I'll see you up top.
Yeah, of course, there's always going to be shit like that. I mean, even fucking Fortnite ripped off Among Us. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers that Fortnite put out a thing like, yeah, here's a new game update that's like a limited time update. And it's like, can you find the traitors and shit? And they broke down the game mode in like a press release, and it was, here's the rules of Among Us, we're putting it in Fortnite.
It's not like Among Us, like, it's just a murder game, right? That's like been a party game for centuries.
Exactly. It's not a new concept, like find the person that's, you know, the saboteur among the group. But Among Us just did it in a fun way. But yeah, it's not their concept, and it's a concept that was popular enough with Among Us that, yeah, of course, there's going to be a million games that try to rip it off, including the biggest game in the world.
Right. Remember Flappy Bird? We got Flappy Doge and Flappy Mario. I feel bad for that guy who's lying on the floor, just tasing his ball.
Nah. Oh. Like, just, you know, I was talking about Destiny earlier, and there's just some builds where it's like, okay, cool, so I'm getting my ability, like, powers back within seconds, and just spamming them with, like, powers and not even needing to shoot my guns anymore. It's like, what do the enemy think when they walk into that room? And they just see a Guardian, like, fucking dodging around the room, throwing grenades and melee attacks and supers out, like, seconds apart, and just not even shooting anymore. It's like, how are we meant to stop it? All I've got is a fucking small red health bar above my head. I'm not a boss. What am I meant to do with it?
Yeah. Oh no, we'll prepare for Titanfall. It's BT, baby.
But it's just how I feel here, where it's like, Shepard's throwing out a, oh, what you call it, like the singularity ability every, like, 3 seconds. Like, every single enemy's being just hit by a singularity. What are they meant to do? Like, I think I'm just playing this on normal as well. I'm not even playing it on easy mode, but you would think I'm playing on easy mode right now because of how much it's just annihilating enemies that even looks our way.
Yeah, he's just so strong.
Oh, just would you like many singularities right in your face all at once?
There's still more. Reeves' anger hasn't dissipated.
Well, that mech was meant to be some kind of imposing character. It got a cutscene. And it was dead within, like, what, 10 seconds? Without really even getting to touch us.
Like, get wrecked.
I didn't need to take cover. That is a lot of manga. But to be fair, you know, for example, we've only got the first couple of, like, manga volumes of One Piece, but the first 2 volumes of the manga that take, you know, might take half an hour to read each volume or whatever. It's like, that is, each one's like 10 episodes of the anime.
Yeah.
I'll take it from here.
Oh yeah, baby.
Like, the Tormentors are the one thing doing the legendary campaign in Destiny, where it was like, oh cool, so I'm just killing everything when I get rolling with my abilities and stuff. But I was doing like a punchy hunter build and just building up my combination blow, and then it's like, it just does the grab insta-kill attack, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like just dodging and punching around the room, but then it just does a grab attack that insta-kills me. It's like, god damn it. So it doesn't quite insta-kill, but it does enough damage that while I'm being grabbed by them, any other enemy alive can just shoot me to death because I'm on like 1 HP.
It's like, it's your own fault. You fool. Lol. Cerberus told you got wrecked.
It's like, I don't like even have to think about what I'm doing with this, like the way we've set up Shepard. I just walk into a room and just keep pressing singularity. It's like, yes, I guess everything's dead.
And how does Cerberus get involved?
I don't know. The elusive man is up to something.
Then keep them at bay. I can't overstate what a victory.
Manga readers do love to post spoilers on YouTube.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
How's the Prothean device coming?
Because the thing is that, you know, if you spoil, then they get mad.
Yeah.
The team has dubbed it Project Crucible. We're throwing everybody who knows how to hold a hammer at it. This is going to be the most ambitious undertaking in human history.
Will we get it done?
I mean, quite literally a stronger biotic than an Asari, because we're stronger than Liara is.
Tell me the designs are elegant.
She's like, what, 400 years of practice?
But strangely simple as well. We can do this, Shepard. You can do this. Never.
How does that feel, though? Like, you've naturally got biotic abilities, and this fucking human comes in with a biotic implant and just shows you off.
And canonically as well, you weren't a biotic in the first game.
We weren't even last game.
Yeah. Is this the thing you picked it up 20 minutes ago?
Liara's like, oh, Shepard, I didn't know you could use biotic powers. Oh, yeah, I got an implement, like, last week. You sure seem to be able to use my ultimate ability a lot faster and better than I can.
Yeah. Do you ever try to story 4 of them at once? Why did that never occur to you? Like, why did it never occur to you to just throw multiple, like, singularities at once? It's super rad.
You know what's better than 1 singularity? 5 singularities.
The quadality.
So yeah, we are making progress towards the one weapon that we think might be able to hurt the Reapers. Like, yeah, that makes sense. You probably should throw a lot of fucking assets at that. Yeah, I've only seen clips of Delicious in Dungeon of them making food, and it's like fucking when you watch like a Ghibli movie of any of the scenes in, like, you know, Spirited Away and stuff like that where they're making food. I'm trying to think of which movies are which. Just every time any of those films just like have a food scene at all, like Ghibli just make it look so fucking delicious.
Hell yeah. Weird thing is though, like they say we need a genetically pure male Krogan. It's like Grunt was in the previous game.
Yes.
Really,
and I think that might be what they're referring to.
Well, that guy's when I'll do it. It really feels like Grunt should be here.
No, but that's what I think they're alluding to, the fact that like Grunt could be in the game. I think that might be why that line is in. And like, well, yeah, you're great, but we do have a perfect Krogan here. Like, I'm mates with him. We go way back to when he was born.
Like, give you the cure. What do we get? Cure the Krogan. I like that as well. The Turians, like, we need your help right now. It's like, sorry, we're looking after ourselves. How's that feel?
Can you do it?
Of course. Similar to Genophage Modification Project. Working against own alterations this time. Not as simple as garbage DNA blocking attachment sites. We'll need to counteract shutdown of redundant nervous system, adjust neurotransmitter levels.
Got it.
We'll create cure, Shepard. Don't need to worry.
Just this better be worth it. It's like, of course it is. If nothing else, if we all get wiped out, at least we know we did the best thing for the Krogans.
Yeah.
At least we'll have that just moral justification on our side of like, well, we did something good before we died.
Human mythology seemed appropriate under circumstances. Suggest speaking with her. New perspective. Surprising in Krogan.
That's what like turns Mordin onto like the cure, right? Where he speaks to a Krogan and realizes they're not like war-hungry monsters.
He's like, oh wait, not all of you are just going to murder us. Maybe our predictions about what the Krogans would be like, maybe they weren't 100% accurate.
About what?
And I do love the Krogan perspective as well. Like the Turians, like, well, if you don't help us, our species gets wiped out. So I wonder what that's like.
In the war room. Just be ready to
No one, wait, but if you don't do it, no one's helping us. Our species is dying as we speak. Really? Your entire species is at threat of dying, and no one in the universe seems to give a fuck, despite how much you ask for help. I wonder if, excuse me, while I just go and scratch my balls for 4 years. It's like that
Game
Krogan was
35.
way nicer than he needed to be. Yeah, look at all the bullshit you've got.
I like how
yeah.
alien races, Terminus Fleet, and then not within alien resources is Solarian.
Well, okay, that's that Solarian hit squad, isn't it, from the guy who remembers you?
Yeah.
Like, you should get the Krogans, you should give them like 8 billion war assets. It's like you have 1 billion Krogan you can send.
You just get Grunt, and it's like Grunt plus 1,000.
You think Solarians would have a base on their homeworld secured better?
Nah, they were solid.
So you can put billions of dollars into just reviving Rex.
Those upgrades, the Solarians might as well have been throwing rocks.
So there's a line there of like, well, yeah, the Solarians were pretty locked down, but Cerberus are literally using Reaper tech at this point because the elusive. How many episodes of Mass Effect are left to go up on YouTube? I don't think I've been. I know I haven't scheduled any in a while. I don't think I've started putting Mass Effect 3 up yet.
Oh yeah.
I don't think.
Commander, nice to see you again.
So presumably all of these streams so far, like they're up there, but I just not scheduled them.
How are the systems
done all that.
Well,
They're just sat there waiting.
They're just waiting. They're just waiting for their day.
Specialist trainer has been extremely helpful. The accuracy of our war room data.
Yeah, 2's definitely been up there, fully done now.
Thank you, Edie.
But yeah, I think all of 3 still needs to actually be archived and sorted out properly.
Piles of tech everywhere. Out here, it's like living out of a shoebox.
Life on an active ship always feels
Like, yeah,
bad at first.
it's
Maybe
like I
Oh, it's not a bad thing.
can't imagine what it would be like because I'm such like a
This is
kind of creature comforts kind of person that I mean Carl knows like
because we had no budget.
even when I'm at Carl's for like one night I bring like an entire fucking prep kit of shit.
You gotta do it.
I that type of person to pack for every single like possibility. So therefore even when I don't need to pack much I pack a lot. And the fact that you basically have to live your entire life out of a suitcase on a ship must be fucking like rough. I had to go away for a couple of days, and I'm like, right, got to pack like an entire arsenal of shit with me. It's like, yeah, it feels like I'm just living in a shoebox now with no, like, yeah, creature comfort. That would suck.
Oh my god! Sorry, I just saw a GIF. It's like some TikTokers challenge the world's strongest man to an MMA fight at the same time, like 2-on-1. And they both run at him. He just picks one of them up and throws them across the ring. It's like, what did they expect?
Like 2 lightweights versus Eddie Hall, and it's like, even if Eddie Hall can't fight, he's still just like 3 times the size of both of them.
He's still the world's strongest man, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even if he doesn't know any like martial arts, his punch is still a fucking like absolute just hammer to the face.
It's like when Brock Lesnar went into MMA and everyone made fun of him. It's like, well, he's just a wrestler. He doesn't actually know how to fight. It's like, well, wrestling is a form of fighting, and he's like a former collegiate professional wrestler.
Yeah, he was literally a college wrestler. Yeah.
It's also, he can lift a 300-pound man above his head 10 times in a row. I remember the great interview where he talks about like his training. That was training for MMA, different from training for wrestling. It's all in wrestling. I need to learn how to lift up, like, say, the Big Show, 350-pound man.
Yeah.
Like, 15 times over the course of a fight in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
For MMA, I only need to lift them once.
Yeah. That thing is like people
like
forget, like, oh yeah, okay, maybe he's not like, he doesn't know fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu, maybe. But he does know how to, like, actually lift up people like The Big Show and Mark Henry multiple times over the course of 10 minutes.
Yeah, so all he did is, like, his first fight was, like, he just tackled someone to the ground and beat the shit out of them. Because he's just so strong, he just picked them up and threw them on the ground.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. I mean, yeah. Bane just... I saw a clip of that fight as well, and like, just 1 second he's like picking up and throwing one of them, and then the next thing he's like knocked out the other one, and then picking the other one back up, and it's just like, fuck,
So
like they had no chance.
Yeah, have you ever seen that clip of like, it's like, I forget what kind of animal it is, but it sneaks up on like an orangutan and steals a banana, and the orangutan just picks it up by the tail and throws it like 800 yards.
But it reminds me of like back when, the kind of old school stories of MMA before it was like the UFC proper stuff now, where it's like way more laden with rules and weight classes, when it was just, let's see what's better and just throw random people of random weight classes and skill sets in a ring together and see what fucking happens.
Yeah.
And it, like, a lot of them used to be like, oh yeah, you're just fighting a dude that's twice your size.
It was always the way. It's like, very quickly they realised, it's like a lot of sports where it's like in the Wild West days. Eventually, one person figures out what works best, and then that just becomes what dominates.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, in terms of actually, like, getting points and stuff, and working towards the rule set that the UFC set up, basically now everyone just does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, because
find that hard to work to say.
Like, the absolute easiest fucking way to win is just like, strangle the person until they pass out.
Mm-hmm. Go back. These fish are getting fed just absolute just banquet time for these fish. So feed them again. That's the funny thing / grim thing about a lot of animals. Oh my god, the fish are getting so fed. It's just like, oh yeah, you can't like leave a goldfish on its own with a week's worth of food supply, because it will immediately ingest all of that food and die. It doesn't have the ability to think about saving some of the food for later. It's just, I don't know when my next feed is coming. I'm going to eat it all, and it will just eat itself to death.
It's like dogs do the same thing, right? It's like, presumably you've had to do that when you were training Cade, of like, Didn't you get like the special bowl? Like you have to give like certain dogs to stop them just eating too quick or they throw up.
It's not that. It's more just like we get them stuff like Kongs and Licky Mats and stuff more because that seats need a lot of mental stimulation rather than like we exercise them by walking them and stuff, but they need more mental stimulation than they do necessarily exercise. So like just making it a bit more work for them to eat their food rather than just putting it in a bowl is a really helpful way to help with that.
Oh, okay, but I know like some dogs need to, because like my old dog would do that. Like you just give some food, and it's like just eats like the entire thing in like 4 seconds and throws up. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, they won't do that. Although Oryx did nearly choke out on some like a chunk of liver cake that we gave him once on his it was for his birthday or presumed birthday because he's a rescue, but like the date they gave us as his like quote unquote birthday. We baked like this dog safe liver cake. And we gave him it without breaking it up enough, and he basically nearly just choked because he tried to eat a massive chunk in one go. It was like, dude, just chew your food.
Like, it's like when I walk my old dog, and I remember like walking it, and the entire time you're walking it, it's
Yeah,
choking itself. And I thought to myself, you do this for the entire 3 miles we're walking.
Mm-hmm.
Would it not be easier to just not walk as fast?
I used to like walk my auntie's dog, and I didn't know any like dog training techniques at the time, and it was like, yeah, he would just choke himself out the entire walk until like we got to the park to let him off, and I'd throw his ball for him. But then, even like after exercising him and playing with him and stuff, even the walk back home, it's like still just choking himself out. Like, it's like, dude, you wouldn't be struggling if you just like walk.
Just walk slightly slower.
I did say liver cake, yes. So rather than like using, ingredients that you would, that you would put in a human cake, you replace them with like dog safe food, and one of those options doing like liver as part like blended liver and stuff like that, and like, a bit of kidney and stuff. A literal meat cake. It's not something I would recommend anyone try, but dogs fucking love that shit. Like they literally, Oryx enjoyed it so much he nearly choked himself to death. He couldn't get around like the idea of taking time to chew and enjoy his food. He just needed it.
It's so tasty, so delicious,
so fucking. Yeah, there was Bunny the dog started like just horrendously like gnarly videos to watch of this dog with 100 buttons going like, why Bunny dog? Why not human? It's like, oh no, that's so scary. Like a thought that a dog is looking in a mirror and going, why Bunny not human?
I can't wait though for Bunny to start asking like the real shit of like just your days are numbered. It's like, wait, what?
Watch your back.
Your soul will be humbled. What?
Is the Cade currently has 2 buttons, 2 talking buttons, and one is like outside and one is play. And when Cade goes outside, a lot of the time, like either he'll bark and set off dogs, or he'll get set off by other dogs in the neighborhood. And then we have to tell him to calm down and come inside. And if it's like a nice day where he wants to sit in the sun, but then he's also barking and setting off all the other dogs and, being loud to all our neighbors and stuff, where we have to limit his time out. Like, no, you're being a dick, come back inside. And then he'll just start sitting there going, outside, and just tapping the button, and it's like, stop it, no. And he's like, looks at you and is like, outside. Like, fuck you, Kate.
It's like a friend of mine, her old dog. If you didn't give it food, it'd take your shoes and put it in its water bottle. It's just like That's such a dick move. You come in your shoes be wet. Is that what happens? Like you didn't share your food.
Scars attractive. Garrus loyal, reasonably intelligent.
Where are my shoes? Oh, they're probably in the bowl.
For the third time,
They don't
Doctor,
like
I'm
you.
not interested.
God, that-
Ah, Shepard.
Such an insulting way to be like, I don't fuck.
Step away from her. She doesn't belong to you.
Reed, it's okay.
Nothing's okay when Solarians are involved.
Oh yeah, like obviously they don't know what the English words necessarily
Simple blood
mean.
test.
Like
Should hurt less than gunfire from Cerberus troopers.
spend time like
Shepard, please.
teaching them.
Distraction's counterproductive.
Like, you
Also
know,
affecting
Cade
comfort of patients.
doesn't necessarily know what the word outside means. He just knows the association of if I press this button, I'm usually let into the garden.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not necessarily that they know what you mean. Like we talk about all the time about how, you know, they're sausage dogs and how we're going to eat them up and put them on the barbecue and things like that, and like just jokey ways to talk to them of like calling them delicious long pork and shit like this. And then you say it in a cute way and they're like, oh yay, belly scratches, like, oh, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna put you on the barbecue. Like, oh, we're not going to, obviously.
It's always I do all those videos of people chasing sausage dogs with tongs. They know it's their natural enemy. But if you are remotely sausage shaped and someone comes at you with the tongs, like, you know, it's a bad sign.
Yeah, it was Jenna was watching like Pirates of the Caribbean, one of them the other day, and I just walked into the room where all I saw was like one of the characters, I think it's the second one where they're like gonna eat Johnny Depp. And I just walked in and heard them go like, oh, delicious long pork, out of context. Yeah. And I was just like, well, that's what the dogs are called now. But no, you can trust Mordin for now. If Mordin takes a wrong turn, I'll shoot him, don't worry.
I never even trusted my own mother. And now an archenemy is suddenly my people's best friend.
Far from it. Find you abrasive and unpleasant, personally. Will help your people, nevertheless.
But you're the one who...
I actually appreciate the candor of Mordin there, of like...
Yeah.
But if
no, not your friend. Just want to help your species.
But it's also the Krogan would appreciate that, because they like straight talkers.
Must be terrifying to have a problem you can't defeat with shotgun. Fortunate I'm here to help.
Just keep her alive.
And it's interesting to see that...
Don't forget, still need your tissue sample.
Side of the like seeing that side of a Krogan for once, of like, yeah, he's being standoffish and aggressive to Mordin, but because he's scared for the female and he's scared for Eve.
Maybe with an inhibitor.
I forgot her name, but
entire catalyzing process would fail.
Even Mordin being like, yeah, the concern is appreciated.
Functional cure without killing you. Many variables. Your immune system compromised. Considering options.
Thank you for saving my life, Commander. I didn't think that.
Yeah, Outworld was not one I got around to at any point.
Even if most people have forgotten that.
They can be forgiven.
Probably one I should play at some point when I get hankering to play a Fallout style game.
Yeah, it's like it's Fallout, but it's a bit more on the nose in terms of its writing.
Purposefully, yes.
Yeah.
I belong to my sisters now.
And like it's Obsidian, so it's very much like got that tone of writing that New Vegas did. And that is one game that I just keep seeing like previews of, the new Obsidian game coming out, Avowed. And every time I'm just like, oh, this, instead of looking like better written Fallout like New Vegas was, this looks like worse version of Elder Scrolls. But I hope it comes out and it's like, oh, it just, you know, it's bad in trailers because it's like hard to make the cool part of Obsidian games of like the writing and storytelling and stuff. It's hard to showcase that in like exciting trailers. It's like they keep showing off the combat that looks fine, and it's like, but it's really hard to then explain why, like, oh, here's a conversation tree in a trailer and it's super exciting, right? It's like it's hard to showcase that kind of...
It is. You know, it's hard to showcase writing. That's
in
why,
like an exciting, flashy 2-minute trailer, yeah.
That's why, like, most shows or films, like, showing off moments, like, they'll just show for joke. Like, always end with, like, the silly joke.
Yeah. Yeah, the Outer Wilds and the Outer Worlds was not just similar names, but they also are both space games that came out like really close together. Very, very different games. Outer Wilds, from what I've played, is like really cool. Need to get around to like finishing that game. Probably, maybe just.
How'd you get involved in Malin's experiments?
The other females and I
Yeah, I do love
volunteered.
I hated the
Malin was
intro of
trying to
Outer
cure the
Wilds
genophage for Clan Weirlock.
because it was a really slow start for the first like 20 minutes of just like let me get to the exploring. But when you do, the game's just like, I don't know, figure your shit out in 20 minutes.
It's time females
Otherwise, the
took back our
galaxy's gonna
place in
blow up. It's like,
society
what?
and
Or the
resurrected
sun
our
is, or what?
future. Malin was our best hope.
It's like you got like 20 or 30 minutes to like just go out with your spaceship and explore and hope that you figure something out before you die this time. So respect.
Would you go to Malin again?
Absolutely. It only takes one candle to light a fire, and then the darkness is no more.
That's like a quote from like Buddha, right?
Well, it sounds like one.
Let's have a look. That 10,000 candles. That's definitely Buddha.
No, 10,000 candles is like.
That's, I don't know. What is it now?
10,000 candles in the wind, Carl.
What is it now?
Are you looking it up, or are you just trying to remember?
I'm trying to look it up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's Buddha. Yeah, it is Buddha. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. The Buddha.
So yeah, very
like,
similar sentiment of like, yeah, it only takes one candle to light a fire. Yeah, it's a pretty poignant quote, and like obviously it's just a changing of a Buddha quote. Yeah, good way to do it, I guess. The reword.
I'm sorry none of the other females survived.
I know. The youngest one, Kern, was the last to go. But she knew she would enter the void free of this curse, and then smile when she looked down upon the children of Tuchanka.
It is very on the nose, though, that it's like, well, what's the matriarch going to be that, like, brings the cure or potential cure to the genophage? Is it going to be, like, you know, a name like not Rex? No, they're going to be called Eve.
Yeah, they couldn't give him a cool ass name, right?
Yeah, they had to be that on the nose. Like, we're going to call this, like, alien species character, which has its own naming conventions. We're just going to call it Eve.
Couldn't they as well like give her like a name from their mythology?
Yeah, exactly right.
Couldn't they use it as an opportunity to like, you know, explore the mythology of the Krogans, of like, you know, because they talk about the Krogans being this warrior race that's lost their past and their history because they don't give a fuck anymore. Wouldn't that have been a cool opportunity for like, hey, do you remember your history? Remember like, your myth when you were a culture and a society? Yeah, I do. Let's try and get back to that kind of Krogan.
Oh, okay. So it's a nickname that Morden gives, which is again even like it's still weird because that wouldn't be a name that a Solarian would give, but at least it's something like maybe Morden could be aware of it and like make it on the nose on purpose. I mean, like the quote I always like to bring up when it brings up quotes is Harrison is the thief of joy. Which
that's a solid one.
I need to look it up because it's like an American president or something said that or some shit, and that's where like first got accredited to. Theodore Roosevelt in the late 1800s may have been the first person to say it. And he's like, he's such like a weird like, oh, I wonder where that quote came from. It's like, oh, it may have been attributed to Theodore Roosevelt.
He was a pretty, like, learned dude.
Mm-hmm.
In between, like, shooting every animal he ever saw.
Yeah, there was some poignancy there, I guess.
There's like that super, like, brutal thing he did where his mum and his wife died on the same day. And there's just, like, this is what his diary looked like on that day, and just a big black X in it, and just says, "The light went out of my life." It's like, goddamn you, Teddy Roosevelt.
Fuck. I mean, one of my least favorite quotes that Cole says to me every year is just, "This summer's going to be the coldest summer for the rest of your life. Every heat wave we get."
Yeah.
And it's just stuck in my brain now. I'm like, God damn it, Cole.
It's not the hottest summer on record, it's the coldest summer you're going to experience for the next 50 years.
It's like, no. Every time I'm sitting here sweating, like, I just want the world to be cooler again. It's like, no, this is going to be the coldest, like, heat wave of the rest of your life. It's like, God damn it.
If you don't mind me asking, what's it been like?
Also, weirdly speaking about President of America, is like, reminded me, I watched a few episodes of the newest season of Futurama, the one that came out like last year.
I did the same thing and immediately dropped off, but is there any ones that are any good?
It's all terrible, right? Like, I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes and had to stop. Because I was like, this is terrible. It was actively, like, hard to watch bad.
Because it feels like every joke they're making is one they would have made like 5 years ago. Like the episode about NFTs and Bitcoins, where they don't even come up with a cool in-universe name for it.
Mm-hmm.
They just call it Bitcoin.
Yeah. It feels like everything was a half-arsed, poorly written joke that was relevant multiple years back, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that it, like, the first episode was all about, like, oh, isn't it so shit that this thing, like, stopped happening and then came back after all this time? And, like, wink, 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 nudge, nudge, nudge. And it's, like, it's even more poorly written and on the nose than the last 3 times they did it when they got brought back.
Yeah. So have you watched the more recent ones, or are you just remembering how bad it was?
No, as in, like, I literally started watching that new season. And got, like, 3 episodes in and was like, holy shit, this is awful. Because, like, I watched all of it before... Or I watched all of the newer stuff before, like, the new season was going to come out. Or around that time, anyway. And watched, like, the good ending where it was, like, Fry and Leela ended up at the end of time together and stuff. And then they just ripped them out of that. And then it was like, yeah, multiple episodes of just like the NFT Bitcoin episode and one, that one and stuff. And I was like, I thought I heard good things about this when it first started coming back out, but I guess people are just like that nostalgia blind that like, yay, Futurama's back, it's great again, right, everyone?
I think what it is because they're making very easy jokes that make people feel smart.
Whereas, like, none of it was actually clever or well written in any way.
But you know what the punchline is, so you feel smart.
I didn't. I turned it off. I felt that infuriated by what I was watching.
Because it just feels lazy, right? It feels lazy.
It was so lazy. Every single thing felt just lazy and not thought well at all. Like, yeah, I think it must have been like episode 3 is that Bitcoin one, and I was like, right, I'm gonna give it the first.
That's why I dropped off.
The first, like, gonna give it the first 2 episodes, watch them, and I was like, right, maybe it was just a bad first drop where they had to get all the shit of like the jokes of like we're coming back and all that out of the way, and then that Bitcoin episode happened, and I was like, this was also awful. I'm not watching more.
That's the one that immediately turned me off. I was like, no, thank you.
Just like maybe like the first episode, I was like, maybe they just had to get that out of their system. Maybe they just had to get that, oh, we're back jokes all out the way. And then it just kept being bad. And it kept being bad. And I was like, this is just making me dislike Futurama now.
Like it made me cringe so much off because they were writing it. It's been written by men who are like 40, 50 years old and they think they've got their finger on the pulse. It's like when I watched that like Into the Pandaverse episode of South Park, and it's like, okay, it's cringy, but maybe they're making like the cringy obvious joke in the title to get people to watch. And it's just like these are arguments that I've seen had online to the point where I'm sick of them 3 years ago. Like, this is a show written by two near 50-year-old almost billionaires.
Yeah.
They are out of touch. They do not understand the point of this argument. This is not funny.
Yeah, never beat to crypto people about crypto. But it's just like, oh, the amount of times where I was like, there was that one where it was like, oh, like Bitcoin, I've lost all my money on Bitcoin and sold it at a loss. And I was like, okay, so the next line that's about to happen is, guess what? Bitcoin's bounced back after all, and that's the exact next thing that happened. I was like,
yeah.
If my imagination of what could they possibly write next in a really lazy fashion is what they actually came out with, I was like, I can't watch this. If everything is like, how could I write this in the most lazy, terrible way? And that's actually what they went with every time.
Because the essence of humor is surprise. If I'm not surprised by anything that's happening, I'm not going to laugh. It's like I said when I was watching that like South Park special, every joke they made is the exact laziest punchline you expect to be made.
It's my pleasure, Commander. I'm glad to see humans treat their women with respect. Your people have placed a lot of responsibility on you.
Do you hear that, Lucas? That's the first person in the game who actually acknowledges that you're a woman.
Men how it's done.
Deal.
I mean, yeah, obviously, like, for the most part, to not, as we said before, to not re-record lines, like, the most amount of, like, 99% of the script is just written completely gender neutral so that it works for either Shepard.
Yeah, and that's like one of the first characters who ever like directly acknowledges that you are a woman and like, hey, the fate of the universe is on your shoulders. Your society must be pretty all right with like women in positions of power. Then it's like, well,
yeah,
it should be, but it's not.
I did find it funny playing like Destiny, and like one of the lines was like, if you play as a hunter, it's like, oh well, we have the 3 sharpest hunters around, we'll be okay. And then like I was then played that mission with Jenna, and it's like Jenna's playing a warlock, so on hers it was like, well, we have the 2 sharpest hunters around, we're gonna be fine. And I was like, I'm glad that they like actually acknowledge like I'm playing as a hunter, so we can add you into that loop. I was just like, yes, thank you. Yeah, that line was great. And then I played it a third time with a couple of mates that needed help the other day, and it said we've got the 3 sharpest hunters around while all 3 of us were hunters. I was in a trash bin from my emote. I was sitting in trash as they were laughing and pushing me around the stage. And I was like, yeah, we've definitely got the sharpest hunters around. As like, we're all giggling as I'm getting pushed around in a fucking bin.
Let's go.
It's like, yeah, those are the guys that are going to save the universe right there. I trust these Guardians. It's like, yes. Good. Because that's always the funny, like, thing of playing with different types of players. I'm the person that sits there and like listens to all the voice lines, and as is Jenna, and we take the story very seriously. And then some of our friends have come in more recent times and like, I don't know, there's fucking 10 years of this shit, I'm not that invested. And they're just like pushing me around as I sit in a little bin emo, and it's like the different experiences that you have playing co-op with different types of people.
It's like just there's something to be said about just the mutual just understanding of this is stupid and looks funny, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a clip the other day, like some Tekken, like one of like the best Yoshimitsu player in the world, iMusician, just always puts clips up of like, Oh yeah, he's just like a random match I had today. It's like he came across another Yoshimitsu, and second one, they both go into meditation stance and start hovering around the ring doing circles. It's just like that's it. That's the. It's like the unspoken rule in fighting games. If you both do the same move and it clashes, it is the rule that you have to keep doing it over and over again until something happens. It's unspoken, never said, but if you don't do it, everyone boos you.
It's like there was that one, I think it was like maybe it was either semis or grand finals or something in Fighter Z, where they opened up like 2 rounds on the bounce with the exact same combo against one another, and like every hit was clashing. And it was like they did that round 1, and then round 2 they did the exact same combo, both at the exact same time, and clashed the entire combo again.
It's like they did it on purpose as well, because like they practiced. It's like the thing of like if you are I think it was Kevlar mirrors.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's like
yeah.
if it's a Kevlar mirror, they learn the combo ahead of time in case they match together.
And it just looked hype as shit of like this entire full, like, as I say, like 10+ second combo of just like clash, 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 clash. It just looked hype as shit, because that's the kind of stuff that actually happens in the anime, right?
Yeah.
Like, where you will have fights where, like, oh, it's just a constant, like, clashing affair against one another. It makes it look even more like Dragon Ball. Speaking of which, like, just Sparking Zero is another game where it was like, just watching the trailer and being like, you know what? This looks like Budokai Tenkaichi, and this is exactly what this game needs to be.
Oh, man, I love all the complaints of just like, man, it kind of sucks that they've not got base form Broly in there. It's like there's 300 fucking characters. The game has 300 characters.
You know, I really miss it when they would let me fight as like Frieza fighter number 3. Bring that guy back. It's like, come on.
Like the front of the box has a pic. Like one of the character selection thing had 6 forms of Broly, and like the top response was, "Man, I can't believe they didn't put base form Broly." And it's like, you've got 6 Brolys. There's 6.
Like, oh well, yeah, they did have like Super Saiyan Blue Goku in there, but they didn't have Super Saiyan Blue times 20 Kamehameha as like a character in there. God damn it. Can't believe they didn't have Ascended Form Goku in there.
Can't believe they didn't have that weird knockoff Super Saiyan from the Garlic Jr. movie.
No, it's a Slug, right?
Oh, right. That one where he
Lord
goes like
Slug,
weird
where they
orange.
make him Super Saiyan, but it hadn't been coloured in the manga yet, or something. So he had like red hair, like as if he was like in Kaioken or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And it's like his eyes glowed golden or some shit like that instead, and it's like literally like weird knockoff, not Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan. The Dragon Ball Evolution. Just bring James Masters back as Piccolo.
Now put that shit in as a skin. Who cares?
I mean, obviously that specifically would look weird because it's like live action, but like I don't care when it comes to like Sparking Zero how dumb they get with it. Of like, just
It's supposed to be right.
Just like put the fucking sentient sword from Dragon Ball GT in as a guy. I don't care. Like, put Kui in there. Put fucking like what's the gag character that's like Beerus pretends is the strongest in the universe.
Oh yeah, who was that now? Yeah, it was yeah, they put someone in a fucking costume, right?
Yeah, they like that little pink dude.
They put him in a costume.
They put him in a little
costume,
like
right?
wrestling outfit, and it's like, yeah, Goku Tagoma, is that it? And it's like, oh yeah, this dude, we're not letting him fight, but he's way more powerful than anyone else in the universe.
And they have like Beerus dressed up like he's got like the weird spiky nipples, right?
Yeah, yeah. And they like make Beerus like throw the fight against him to make it so that Goku will be more pumped to fight him and get strong. Just put him in as a character in Sparking Zero. Like, I'd love that as like, because they had in one of them, I can't remember what one was, where they had like Hercule as a playable fighter, and he was like a gag fighter.
And he was always super good. Yeah, Hercule's always like, I always in Raging Blast 2 always played Hercule because he had like the super mega sun punch which did 0 damage.
Oh, I wonder if I Google how like Manaka, that was it. Like, I don't want a 7th Broly.
Oh, well, that thing is, no doubt that character will be in because they're gonna put all the dumb ones in, right?
Of course. When I Google search Manaka, Manaka is a Japanese sweet made of azuki bean paste sandwiched between 2 thin, crisp wafers made from mochi. Obviously, like, if most people are aware at this point, like, pretty much every character in Dragon Ball is named after, like, food of some kind.
Except for Frieza, who is what food is stored in.
And Cooler, and King Cold.
And Chilled.
And Chilled, and, oh, I can't remember what Frieza's, like... What's Frieza's Universe 6 counterpart?
Oh, Frost.
Frost, yeah, Lord Frost. Like, obviously, it's not every single character, but yeah, most characters are food related and stuff. Piccolo and his family. I thought Piccolo is also like, it's like a musical reference, but it's also some kind of food reference, right?
I want to say so, yeah. It's like just
yeah, because it's
reference.
like I think it's like meant to be the Japanese word for like maybe pickle. Yeah, but they are. Yeah, Piccolo's definitely a musical reference. I think that has like multiple ways of working. I mean, I will say, you know, tonight we haven't done much Mass Effecting. We've gone very off the rails, but it's been fun. I think it's probably not worth getting into another mission, but yeah, it's been fun to just chat shit with people. Yeah, Vegeta and then his brother Tarball, who is together they are literally Vegeta-Tarball. And obviously Tarball was made like years later as a joke, but yeah. It wasn't just that they had like Vegeta, they also decided like fuck it, Tarball is his brother. Who like we see like referenced one time. It's like, how'd your brother do? He's off somewhere.
I like how in like the show they mention that, right? Like,
yeah.
Because they acknowledge that we need like 5 Saiyans.
And he's like, oh, what about your brother Tarball? Could we go get him? And he's like, he's off doing his own thing.
You've got no fucking idea.
Oh dear, but yes, I presume like this week will more be just a casual chatting type of stream anyway, because I'm going to be playing some Destiny and talking about Destiny, but I'm probably just going to be like doing some pretty casual Destiny content and just, again, kind of like this, being a bit more informal and just chatting the shit. So kind of expect, if you're not into Destiny, just come in with some vibes of just like chilling out and having some fun discussions.
And I want to come in and just like watch you build, watch you build, watch you build, watch you build.
Do it. And I'll be like, Carl, my build is punch, dodge, and then punch, and dodge,
watch you build.
Punch, and then dodge, and then punch, and then... You know all that does? It fucking kills and freezes everything around me, and it makes me invisible, and makes my health regenerate, and gives me super back super quickly. It's like, it's a very fun.
So I just did the one where it's like I've just been playing like Baldur's Gate for a bit, and I made like the giant Karlach build.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we use like Enlarge and like the Elixir of the Colossus, and then also you give her the staff that makes her grow. So it's like I've just got Karlach who's like 14 feet tall in a match for 10 turns, and just all she does is walk up to the enemy, pick them up, and swing them around by the ankles at another enemy. It's great. And the entire thing is built around just giving her bonuses, and like everyone's just casting spells on her buffer.
Oh, that's so fucking cool.
So it's just like this giant, naked, bulletproof Karlach. Because I give her mage armor, which means like, oh, as long as she's not wearing armor, she gets like a base like armor reduction on everything. But then just made her run around in her underwear. It's like, let's go.
Right. Has there been any update yet? Every time you mention Baldur's Gate, I'm just like, okay, May 2024, they're still working on crossplay. I'm like, I want to play this game at some point.
You want to make giant Karlach?
I want to, like, yeah, play the game in co-op with Jenna and, like, actually be able to go through. Presumably, like, you know, may even do a run with you. Just get you back in. But yeah,
I'll be down for it. That'll be like after Mass Effect, right?
That would be. And also, yeah, August 1st is when this Thank Goodness You're Here comes out, and it also has like a Yorkshire Day logo, so presumably it's like meant to be a fake Yorkshire town that they're taking the piss off.
Yes, let's go.
Developer Coal Supper, as in COAL Supper, and I'm like, that sounds like a Northern English developer right there.
I hope it is. Otherwise, that's like really fucking offensive. I grew up in a town that made coal. I grew up in the town it's probably taking the piss out of.
Let's. They're from Yorkshire, yes.
Okay, good.
So I will.
Like coal supper when I grew up in a colliery town.
Yeah.
And I had cold tea for supper.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you know, it's very fitting for Yorkshire. Like, you know, in Sheffield, the Steel City. But yeah, I will have a look into that and just like request a code for streaming that at some point, presumably around August 1st. But yeah, it's the strange town of Barnsworth in a cheeky comedy slapformer. So yeah, I think that's a fake Northern English town. As far
it
as
could be real. We don't have enough bullshit.
But yes, it will be interesting to see that and get like. There's not many representations of like stupid Northern English stuff in video games, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's an underrepresented market. It's like Sean Bean, and that's about it.
And it is very, very like over the top slapstick cartoony stuff. That's taking the piss. Like, it's not meant to be an accurate representation or anything. But I since a few people like seem to show interest, I'll request a code for that. We can enjoy that at some point in August.
So I'll be down. I'll use my real accent for a little bit.
It was nice coming back from a week off and just seeing an email like, "Oh, do you want some codes for games?" Like, I'll have a look. See what's on offer. I'll be back Tuesday and Thursday as usual this week, but it will just be like chill out, do some chill Destiny stuff, have a chat with everyone.
It's like, what's your build? What's your build? What's your build?
God, I can't believe not doing the raid on you. Such a fucking loser. Can't even like solo the raid yet.
You absolute loser. What are you doing? What are you doing? Not Googling how to do it.
Oh dear. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining and staying with us tonight. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, Carl, for joining as always.
No problem. Got to talk about like just these alien ass motherfuckers.
We got to do so much Mass Effect in Carl. We got to like play all of 10 minutes of the game.
We did one mission.
We did one mission. We're doing well. We're making progress. Slowly but surely we'll get there. Thank you everyone for joining. Everyone has a lovely day, evening, or night.